Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. We're truly excited to introduce the new interface for Bidirectional Labs with the Computerized Physician Order Entry via our LIS LabSoft. Today, we have Daniel Voigt, who's our CTO. He was leading the design team behind this interface. Debra Burkhead, who's our project coordinator. She will be the one, if you are interested in a bidirectional, she'll be your contact and liaison in order to get that process completed and going. And then Maria Gray, who is our product manager and senior IS implementation specialist. So thank you. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Marie to start the presentation. We will be opening Q&A. If you raise your hand at the end, we'll open for conversation at the end. The purpose of today's presentation is really to get your feedback. This is a phase one approach. If acceptable, we're going to go through certification this week, and we can release this CPOE into production for your use very promptly. So again, we're looking for you to give us the feedback if this UI is acceptable, user-friendly enough, if we've added all of the lab features and functionality to move this out into your users' hands. And then again, if there's any added features or functionality that you'd like to see, that's what we're looking forward to hear. There is a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. If during the presentation, just to remember, if you want to put something in the Q&A that can be addressed at the end, that's excellent as well. So with that, I'm turning it over to Maria. Thank you again for joining.
Thank you, Coletta. And for a brief introduction, I also wanted to, before I jump into it, turn it over to Debra to give a little bit of an introduction to what we're going to be going over today. Debra, unless you would like for me to do so. Otherwise, can begin.
As Coletta said, we're just in the beginning phases of finishing up the first portion of the development. It's been a lot of testing, and we're very comfortable and happy with it, and we would appreciate any feedback. This new CPOE is going to allow for faster integrations and a lot more flexibility for our end users. There'll be not only one place to place the lab orders, you'll be able to go through the Labs tab and encounter or the patient information screen within the eChart. So there's a lot more flexibility, and there are a lot of features that we needed and you will really appreciate. Thanks, Maria.
Sure, thanks, Debra. And speaking of the Labs tab, you'll also note that as I begin sharing my screen, that we have additional information available within the Labs tab. So let me go ahead and begin there. And so as I begin sharing my screen here, you'll note that we have some additional columns displayed, such as the name of the lab. So if for those of you who use multiple labs when placing orders, you'll be able to see the name of the labs, whether it's Gravity, Dominion, Quest, and so on. You'll also be able to see the name of the test. So that can be helpful when reviewing the results that you're looking for. As we move to the right, you'll be able to see the order number that was previously available, as was the practitioner, but you'll also see the results. So whether it's a pending result, a result that has been received in a text format, or in a text or a PDF format. You'll also be able to print the label directly from this screen, as well as sign off on the results from this screen. So for example, looking at the results, if I want to view the PDF result, by clicking PDF, I will be able to see in one click the PDF result of that result of the report. We will be in a future release providing in red anything that is outside of normal limits, so that you will be able to see at a glance those results that are, as I said, outside of normal limits. So that should be helpful for you all in reviewing your lab results. Now, as I jump over to the CPOE screen, which is launched by the new launch CPOE or Computerized Provider Order Entry screen. That will launch our CPOE screen, which will look very similar to what you're used to seeing in AZZLY. We're going to be able to default the location of the patient. The ordering provider will be able to be selected. You can select if it's draw at service center, as well as the draw date and time, and select that as needed. In addition to that, some enhancements will be to set preferred test lists. So if there are certain test lists that you would like to save as favorites, essentially, then you can save those under your preferred test list. A huge ask has been to have the ability to have the AOE, or ask on entry. So for example, with the ANT panels, I can choose, is it a POC cup, yes or no? Patient ethnicity, the patient race, confirm current prescribed prescription medications that are prescribed. So I can either scroll through the list, or I can simply search, and then after making a selection, I can, let's see, so fluvoxamine, and place a check mark next to that and click away. So now I have my 2 medications that have been selected. I also have, as part of this preferred test list, an antidepressants TCA panel. I can choose whether it's routine, stat, ASAP, or pre-op. Is it a PCOE or PCO cup? Yes or no? And same with the antipsychotic panel. So depending on the type of test that you are selecting, the AOE questions will display automatically for you, which has been a huge ask by many labs. Now, at the bottom of the screen, you will notice that you have the ability to configure your own set of configuration items. So we'll begin with personal settings, and everything from setting your font size to alerting when the draw date is not entered. You can scroll, as I scroll through, you can see some of these personalized settings. And then you can also set your preferred test list from here. So as you set up your various tests, if you would like for those to display as preferred test lists, then those can display on the left panel for you without you having to search for them. Same applies essentially for orders of convenience. You can add new orders of convenience here, so that instead of having to search through those, you can automatically select those as needed. You do have the ability currently to CC if you would like to send results to another provider as well. So if at your facility, perhaps you're running a set of tests and you want to also send those tests to the patient's primary care provider, you can send those results to the primary care provider as well. If a comment is needed for a certain test, you have the ability to enter that comment. And then just above that, build to, this is a common field that was already available within our bidirectional order screen as well, where you can select whether it should be billed to the third party, the client, or to the patient. And when placing an order, you can choose to do just that and go ahead and place the order, or you can place it on hold or cancel the order. So if you aren't finished placing your order and you would like to place it on hold, you may choose to do so that you can come back later and place the order. You can also cancel the order completely. When I was down in the configuration area, one of the options was to confirm whether or not to cancel, so you don't accidentally cancel if needed. I can choose the draw date and time. So if I wanted to select today at 11:45, I may select that. And then I also at the bottom left corner can choose which lab I would like to send this test to. Okay. So once I have finished placing my order, I can go ahead and select place order. It's going to ask me to verify, are you ready to place this order? In which case I can say, yes, place the order now. Once I do that, then a printable document will display for me, giving me the overall view of the order that I have placed, all of the tests included, all of my comments, etc. It'll say end of order. And then as I go to the next screen, it's going to show me a barcode example along with the billing information, the patient's information, etc. So all of that will be sent to the pharmacy. Once I have placed the order, it will display within my labs tab at the top as pending. If I need to print a label for that lab, then I'll be able to do so. And then once a lab has been resulted, if I need to apply my signature, so for example, on this 1113 CMP order where I view the results, then I can click the signature icon, confirm that I would like to apply my signature, in which case the signature icon will turn green momentarily. And then when I click the text again, it will show me at the bottom, electronically signed by with my name. So you're not going to see too many changes in terms of the interface with labs. We've tried to keep this as familiar as possible in terms of the formatting, the verbiage and whatnot that has been used. However, you will see additional features and options available, such as those that were just shown within the CPOE screen, whether that is the AOE, the Ask on Entry fields, and being able to set up favorites as well. Okay, so Debra, do you have any additional comments to add to this?
I believe you've thoroughly covered everything that yes, you've done a good job, Maria, of thoroughly covering everything. I did want to mention that in the webinar notice that was sent out, we did include the e-learning document with that will feature a lot of the details of the configuration so that you're able to, review that as well when you're providing feedback for us. But other than that, I believe you did a wonderful job. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Debra. And Coletta, the lead for all of this for us, as she is always looking for better ways to improve the user interface for our clients. Coletta, if you have anything else to add, or Daniel, who's head of the development side of this, if either of you have anything to add, by all means, please do.
Okay, so we did get one question, and Maria, thank you, and Debra. Will this auto-populate a billing code for point of service, or will we still have to make an encounter also?
Great question.
Currently this will not be, the way we have it currently set, it's not going to be affecting billing.
Debra, I'm sorry. So auto-populating a billing code for point of service or not, it does include the insurance. Is that correct on the screen?
Correct.
Okay. So we will find out that, Derek, we will find out if you still have to create an encounter for the lab in order for that billing to go through. So good question.
Yes.
And so for those that have attended the call, here comes another. The PDF is the view of the embedded PDF from the lab, correct? Daniel's answering this one. This is from Noah.
Yeah, so I just typed in there, but the answer is yes, no.
Excellent. And then from Sharika, when you send result to another provider, will it send as a PDF?
Great question.
Daniel, do you know that one? Or LabSoft reps?
think that would be a LabSoft question.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I would like to take a look real quick. I may not have the exact answer from that, but when I am sending the PDF results, I do have the ability to save that result as a lab report so that when I send it, I can send it as a PDF to another provider.
Okay. Do we have another one? If the patient is in the office giving a specimen, will the collection date auto-populate? Maria, do you know that one? Or Daniel's going to answer it?
I do not know that off the top of my head. I love questions that I don't know the answer to because I love learning. So thank you for answering that one. Daniel, do you have the answer to that? If not, then that is something we can definitely follow up on.
Yeah, I think this is something that we need to double check, but as far as auto population, I know for sure, you'll be able to populate it yourself. But as far as a default, that would be something that we can get back to you on.
And then I have a question. I want to show you, Maria mentioned about the, Maria, may I share my screen a second?
Absolutely, Coletta.
Thank you. Maria mentioned about the abnormal. Am I sharing my screen?
You are, and you're sharing exactly what we need.
Okay, and this was mentioned that instead of the results coming through the LIS in the text format, or possibly we can receive it in both format, this is the way the abnormals would read. What I'd like from today's audience, your feedback, is this a format that you would prefer, or you would like both the text as well as this format to be able to receive? So any feedback?
And if not today, we welcome your feedback as you contemplate this and go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, are there any other questions out there? Or Mike from LabSoft, do you want to make any comments? Ginger, do you have any comments? Aisha?
Ginger just wrote in and said these are discrete values. Can you also have the PDF results version?
Hey, Maria, this is Noah Sellers from Gravity. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. I can actually answer Ginger's question. So Daniel did confirm that the PDF view is the embedded PDF from the lab. So they'll have the PDF from Gravity now, as well as, yes, that was we call it the discrete result view, with the now highlighting of abnormals in red and bold. And I was actually typing out another question in terms of the AOEs. Can those be applied at the order level, or do they have to be applied at the individual order choice level?
Can you tell us the distinction, Noah? This is
So
Debra.
I think that might be a Mike Doyen. Mike's got his hand up. Can somebody open up Mike? Andrew?
Are you able to hear me?
He's here, yes.
Yes.
All right. So yes, the AOEs can be applied at either the order level or the individual test level.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, I think Noah answered my question, so thank you. It's Ginger.
Hi, Ginger.
Nice
Hello,
to meet
Ginger.
you all. I'm super excited. I know we have a lot of folks on this call.
No,
do.
Ginger, we're glad to have you all on. Thank you. And did we answer Noah? I believe we did.
And no,
Yes.
it's still raised. Did you have another point to make or question?
I do not. Nope, I'll lower my hand now.
Okay. Anything else from those in attendance? Any other questions?
There is another question from Yolanda Furlow. Can the patient medications be sent in an NTE because we currently have had to have an AOE for them? And I have to defer to anyone that has the answer to that.
Ditto.
So, are you able to hear me? Okay.
Yes.
The system is designed so that the medications are going to come across as AOEs, and when they get sent through the HL7, they're going to come across as in the OBX segments.
So that was Mike Boyan from LabSoft.
Mm-hmm.
Yolanda, did that answer your question?
Are we able to unmute her?
Andrew, if you could unmute Yolanda.
Hi, Coletta. That did answer my question. Thank you. Is there a way that I could possibly request for a future enhancement or something like that?
Always.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
If you, Yolanda, if you could communicate, and I would say, if you want to send it to me, Coletta D, I'll put my email down here. Send it to me because we do want to hear any of your feedback and any enhancements that we need to make. We work very closely with LabSoft, Mike and his team. And so this is phase one. Seeing what you saw today and knowing your provider network, we're going through certification this week. We could release this into production as soon as this weekend. Based on what you saw, we've got the PDFs out there. We can do training webinars one-on-one. Would you feel comfortable based on your lab techs being out there, your lab techs using this? Could we move this to production this weekend, or do we need to delay?
Well, I would say it looks good because, you know, like sometimes if they have, I wasn't sure how the preferred list thing looks because sometimes our providers can order up to like 40 tests. So I just wasn't sure the preferred list. You know, doctors don't like to do a lot of clicking. So I just wasn't sure how that looked with like 40 tests. But it looks good so far. I like it.
Good. Mike, do you have any comment in regard to that? If the 40 lab orders are listed?
If the preferred test list is long, the test list window on that left-hand side will indeed scroll, and you can also still search even while you have a preferred test list in place.
Oh,
so if the list is too long and maybe there's just too many tests involved, you'll always have the ability to search by either the order code or by the test name. Alternatively, the test list is there for that easy identification to point and click.
okay, great. And then when they get their results back, would they have to approve every single test, like 40 tests, or is it just like could they approve one full order once they review it all?
It would be one order.
Or, you know.
Yeah, it would be one order. If you had all the 40, the preference list would name your tests, and then you would put all 40 of them within one title. Is that what you're hoping to do?
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So then we would return all of the results for each of those test codes that you sent us. And then once they get the result, what sort of notification will they get? Because there's more than one test in there. If they get just one result, that would be great. You know, just one notification, I would say. That this result is back for this specimen.
So does that,
Referring to development.
Maria, does that reference the fact that we don't take the interim results in, we just take the final results in, and that's what's displayed?
Yes, we
Great question or great remark, Coletta.
So Mike, is that a preference that has to be set up in the beginning for anyone with a bidirectional, that we do not take in interim results, that we only display the final?
I'd need to look into that, but I believe that's correct. I believe we can set that up at the individual connection level, but I'd need to verify that.
Yeah, because I believe that's how we use it today, so that they're not getting, 1,000 results in.
mhm.
It seems to work very efficiently. Ginger, did you get your question asked or answered? If a client has a FOP and needs to change it, what would be the process?
I don't know, does that make sense? So if a client has a favorites panel, so that'll be on the AZZLY side, and let's say a provider needs to take off a drug class because they don't want to test for that. What would be the process to change that? I don't need to know that answer today. Just let me switch over.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
just
that's in
thinking
the-
of all these things, but I do have another question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so of course, I'm with Gravity, and we have where our collectors enter orders in our system called OEL. Some interfaces allow you, even though once you go bidirectional, that if they don't want to, let's say with AZZLY, if our clients go bidirectional, will the collectors always have to enter orders into AZZLY, or can they still use our side OEL, and then will it populate in AZZLY to place the order?
And this is Noah from Gravity also, and to kind of piggyback off of that, I had a similar question: is what will happen to unsolicited results, like Ginger mentioned, if they submitted the order in our system and then we just return the result to you once we make the switch to bidirectional?
There is no change in the process for the results only connections, which that would be a results only connection, placing the order through your portal.
So what Debra's saying, that's deemed a unidirectional. So it's results only. It'll behave as it behaves today. There is no order to match it against. So to answer your question, Noah and Ginger, at this time, the order needs to be placed in AZZLY in order to have the result match and display right in the patient record. The provider gets a notice, and it can be in his messages or it can be in his My Work area in AZZLY, to notify him that he's got a result back. And Maria, correct me if I'm not accurate with that statement. But right now at this time, and I don't know if Mike, if you ever offered that, where an order could be placed in a lab portal and it can reflect in the EHR.
And
I was going to say, I'm just trying to think through that for a moment. In terms of any order placed in a lab portal reflecting back into an EHR, I think it's really going to come down to whether or not the patient ID, patient record information, and maybe the accession number all match something that might exist in the EHR. From the LabSoft perspective, it's either a bidirectional interface or it's a results only interface. How you do the reconciliation in the EHR is entirely up to you.
Yeah. So at this time, again, many of you have unidirectionals. We're excited, and we hope that we can move you to bidirectional, so that it's just a much more efficient process, not only for your lab techs, but also for the providers and the facility itself. Having said that, we do need the order in AZZLY in order to sync and match to that result at this time.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and so Debra, the process of being respectful of time, the process to set up a bidirectional, we need, Andrew, I think you've got a slide that you can display on the process. Debra heads up the connections in working with LabSoft in order to submit. It's a lab connection request form. So if you're not familiar with it, you can reach out to clientservices@azzly.com would be the best. Client services with an S at azzly.com. And Debra can assist you in this lab connection request form. Many of our current clients have a smart sheet access, and they're able to fill this out right there. So we do need to make sure that we know the lab, the connection, the rep's contact information, if there's a current lab account, all of this so that we can submit it to LabSoft. LabSoft then picks this up and the LabSoft team reaches out to you to make that lab agreement between LabSoft, the LIS, and you all. After you've made that agreement, you've gotten the connectivity. It's very simple on our end. We just run a test to make sure that the connection is valid and everything works as expected. It can be a process timing wise. Many of you know that on the lab side, as far as it doesn't happen overnight. So if you feel that those facilities that you're serving will benefit, we certainly hope you do, that we recommend that you put the connection request form in. Let's get this going. With the existing ones you have that might be on unidirectional, let's get them bidirectional. And then any others, we hope that you will encourage them to do the bidirectional with us.
Coletta, I just wanted to find out from you if you wanted any type of additional feedback or questions to be sent to your email address or sent into clientservices@azzly.com.
Yeah, you know what? Let's put them into clientservices@azzly.com. That's better than me, because we can collect them all and then we can discuss it with Daniel and his team and also the LabSoft team. Any type of improvements, recommendations, etc. But we'd like to, with you all hands up on this, if we could move forward in getting this into production so we could roll it out to the end users. Obviously, we will support it. We'll make sure that they've got PDFs. The e-learning is updated with the how-tos to do this. But we'd like to get this out, if we could, in a production release this Friday evening. Make sure that everything tests accordingly over the weekend, and then support any bidirectional questions that might come up next week. So if I could see a show of hands that we could move forward on this based on how you all feel. And again, if you have any concerns at all, please express that. But our intent is to get this certification behind us this week and get this out in production so we all can move forward on a more robust bidirectional. Noah, do you have a question, or is that a?
No, that's me raising my hand and say, let's get it in production.
I was looking for the raise hand myself.
Okay, I love it. So here we go. Maria's got it. All right. So Ginger, unless you have concerns, or Yolanda, anyone else on the call, we're going to move this into production. If there's anything that we need to do a rollback, we will, but we're going to get it into production Friday night, rigorously test over the weekend. And with LabSoft, know that we've got it in a nice and stable environment. We've been doing rigorous testing, as Debra mentioned, but we're ready to go if you're ready to go.
And
We are
Coletta,
ready and so excited, and thank you so much.
Is this going to be just for any future ones, not our current interfaces, right?
No, this will be, okay, if you've got a bidirectional interface now, this new UI user interface for the end user will be live for them to use for any current bidirectionals. Your unidirectionals will not be affected because obviously the results just come in and they'll behave the same. But this will affect any current bidirectionals. And then on a going forward basis, anyone new that you sign up that's a user of AZZLY, they will have the new interface.
Okay, thank you.
Great question.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay. Yolanda, do you, is that a, let's go for it, Yolanda?
Yes, that's it.
Woo.
All right, wonderful. Then thank you so much. Really appreciate your time today and your feedback. It's valued. Any suggestions, again, clientservices@AZZLY.com. We certainly appreciate your time and any input you give us. Thank you so much. And you can look forward to seeing it over the weekend. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank
All
you.
right.